Other groups are watching very carefully to see what happens here. So I'm here speaking on behalf of rural physicians across this province who are very concerned about what this issue is. I find it very fascinating that the two invited guests here tonight, Dr. Kitts and myself, both come from Barry's Bay, which is a little tiny town on the other side of Algonquin Park, and we've never before met. Dr. Kitts left town around the time I arrived, I think, and I have followed Dr. Kitts' very successful career as CEO of the Ottawa Hospital, and I hope he is aware of my career as a family doctor and 20 years of advocacy for family doctors in rural areas and the people that they treat. So it's nice to meet you, Dr. Kitts. Tonight we are discussing a fundamental change in the way our healthcare system has functioned for years. In years gone by, the mantra used to be care close to home, in the right place, at the right time. And you have already heard lots of very sound reasons tonight why this is so important. The role of the small hospital has always been a given, not to be questioned. But nowadays, with budgetary constraints and the fascination of society with high technology and subspecialist care, we tend to overlook the importance of basic fundamental care done by well-trained rural physicians in small towns. Family doctors appreciate the work of the specialists and the availability of the big hospitals, but make no mistake about it, the rural physician is also an important specialist. And you people here in Fort Erie are extremely fortunate to have such a solid group of rural specialists looking after you. But I wonder, will they stay without a hospital? I don't know. But I am concerned about that. Those who claim there should not be two hospitals located close to each other forget that distance is only one part of a very complicated equation, and Dr. Kitts knows this. Population density, weather conditions, type of industry, the characteristics of the population all have to be factored into this. And don't forget the baby boomers, who are this generation about to enter their senior years, who will not hesitate to demand quality care close to home. Regarding emergency services, just ask the wife of a 38-year-old patient who arrived in our emergency department at 3 o'clock in the morning in a smaller hospital than Fort Erie with indigestion. Well, that indigestion turned to chest pain and then to a cardiac arrest. Shortly after that, the nurse and myself, just the two of us, went to work. We defibrillated him, we dissolved his clot, we treated his heart failure, all in the little tiny hospital at very small cost to the system, I might add. And that man would not be alive today without the small emergency department. You can't discount that. Furthermore, I know you will never see headlines in your paper such as the one in the Ottawa Citizen this past week. This headline says, Montfort Hospital probes disgraceful emergency room wait. Now, the Montfort Hospital is not the main hospital in Ottawa. It's a secondary hospital. The next day, they say they're sorry for the lengthy ER wait. But you know what their excuse was? They're overburdened. So how are these hospitals going to manage if you start closing down? I don't mean you personally, Jack, but if the small hospitals are closed down in Winchester and Arnprior and so on, you won't see this sort of headline in Fort Erie, I'm sure. It's most unfortunate that there is little in the way of solid, unbiased research to help you make these decisions. I can prove to you that obstetrical care in small hospitals is safe and of high quality, and I can prove to you that basic surgery, appendectomies, hernia repairs, and so on, is also safe in the small hospital. But I don't have the research to prove that looking after an elderly person with Alzheimer's disease and pneumonia does better, but I believe it. So my advice to you, Dr. Kitts, and to the members of the LHIN, if there are members of the LHIN board here, is twofold. First, please use this opportunity to get the research done, because you have little grounds at the moment to proceed. This is the sort of thing that ISIS could handle, or Ben Chan at the Ontario Health Quality Council, and I firmly believe that cost efficiency with high quality care in small hospitals will be proven. Second, if the local hospital, whether it's here or anywhere, is having trouble, why not ask the CEO of a successful small hospital to join you in doing this review? With due respect, I would suggest that the knowledge base and experience required to run the Ottawa hospital is not quite the same as that required in running a small community hospital. And you and I both know people who could help you. We have examples of terrible mistakes made by healthcare planners in years gone by. Planners who wrote reports not unlike the one that we're discussing tonight, with all the right words and all the right buzz phrases. 16 years ago, it was believed that the reason healthcare costs were high was because there were too many doctors. So they cut back medical school enrollment. 10 years ago, they felt it was because there were too many hospital beds and too many hospitals. So they cut back on hospitals. And we know the results of those decisions. 5 million Canadians without a family doctor and completely unacceptable wait lists to see specialists and have surgery. Well, the new scapegoat seems to be the small hospital. This is an economic-driven agenda. It is not about quality care. It is not about access to care. To those in positions of power, I would say this: please tread carefully, lest you also be the subject of derision and criticism in 10 years from now, when the absence of small hospitals puts a major strain on the system and ends up costing even more. I put it to you that this whole exercise is moving much too quickly, without the evidence required to justify it. Small hospitals provide high value for each dollar spent, and they truly represent a lifeline for the local residents. With a proper vision, along with support and planning, they can become the hub of the community, providing valuable emergency and inpatient care, along with coordinating other services that are hard to find in small towns, such as long-term care, home care, support for those with mental health issues, domestic violence, breast cancer, addictions. The small hospital is a gold mine if it is used properly. Once again, I thank you for involving me in this important exercise. We must not lose yet another fundamental cornerstone of the healthcare system, the small local hospital. Thank you.